You may have heard of the Maltese Falcon or a Maltese Poodle, but have you ever heard of a Maltese Pastizzi? If you haven't, then you're about to, and you're gonna love it. So Malta, this is International Plate. So Malta is this country made up of a lot of little islands in the Mediterranean, just south of Italy, and they have this incredible food culture. And there's one item that they consider pretty much their entire history, their entire personality in one bite, and that is the pastizzi. So it's kind of like, for those of us outside of Malta and Australia, which those are the only two places in the world where they seem to be very popular and thriving, like those of us in America, we don't know what those are. So for my American or non-Maltese and Australian viewers, a pastizzi is kind of like a croissant-like pastry, but not exactly. Most of the times it's savory, stuffed with ricotta or mushy peas or even stewed braised meats. But here recently there's a street food version that's very popular with Nutella, so why not do it both ways? And this is a very special video because it's a viewer request video. This recipe is about 8 months in the making, and it is dedicated to my friends Silver Slayer and Master Breaker. Guys, thank you for these requests and thank you for challenging me. I hope I've done Malta proud. There's a lot to this, so I'm going to cut the talking. So let's get started. And before we dive into our recipe, I must tell you that you will need a ton of margarine. This is 280 grams of margarine that's been softened at room temperature. And no, you cannot replace it with butter. It will not work. Trust me, my first draft was made with butter and I failed miserably. You will also need semolina flour. This can be commonly found in most supermarkets for relatively cheap. This is going to be a binder for our traditional ricotta filling. Now that that's out the way, let's start with our fillings, beginning with the easiest one, our Nutella street food version. And the first thing in is 200 grams of full-fat ricotta cheese, and then we're going to pair that off with the same amount of Nutella spread. And once that's been emptied out, we're going to hit it with just a slight pinch of kosher salt to balance out all those sweet flavors. Then we're going to hit it with one large room temperature egg, and then we're going to bring out our trusty hand mixer and pulverize this filling until everything is smooth and creamy. We don't want any lumps from the ricotta still remaining. You want something that looks like this. This is the consistency of a really good chocolate pudding. And from here, we're going to transfer this chocolatey goodness into a container, seal with the lid, and want to toss that in the fridge for a couple hours or up to overnight. You can definitely make this the day before, as long as it's chilled and set by the time we need it. Now that that's out the way, let's move on to our ricotta filling, which begins with 125 milliliters of water that we're going to bring to a boil over medium-high heat. And once it's ripping hot and bubbling, we're going to cut that heat and drop in 25 grams of semolina flour and get that mixed in to dissolve into that boiling water. And once it's mostly dissolved, we're going to go ahead and add in a tablespoon and a half of good unsalted butter. This is the only time butter gets harmed in the making of this video. And then we're going to whisk it until it becomes mostly smooth in a porridge-like consistency, kind of like what you see here. And from here, we're going to transfer this into a separate container where it's going to cool to room temperature over the next 15 minutes. Once everything has been properly cooled down, we're going to drop in 250 grams of that same whole milk ricotta. Then we're going to top it with that cooled semolina porridge mixture, crack in one large room temperature egg, and then season it generously with some nice kosher salt and some aggressive cracks of freshly ground pepper. And then, like last time, we're going to bring out our trusty hand mixer with clean beaters and then pulverize this until it's fully emulsified and creamy. So don't worry if you have any grainy bits in your semolina mixture, this will be worked out by this point. And just like last time, we're going to transfer this into a container with a lid and pop it in the fridge for a couple hours or up to overnight. Now let's get started on the hardest part of it all, the pastizzi dough. And into a large container, we're going to drop in 450 grams of all-purpose or 00 flour, season it with 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, and once we're done mixing everything in, we're going to use our fingies and make a well in the center of our bowl. This is very similar to how you would make pasta. Once we have a sizable dip in the middle of our flour, we're going to add in 220 milliliters of room temperature water, and carrying on with the pasta method, when we bring things together, together from the outside in, dragging in that flour while rotating the bowl until we start to see some hydration happening. Then we're going to use our hands and start bringing everything together, making sure we rotate our dough from the bottom up to ensure proper hydration. And we're going to continue this until a sticky, shaggy dough forms just like this. Then we're going to roll it out onto a dry work surface, and then we're going to start kneading this into a rough ball. Just a warning, the dough in this state is super tacky and very hard to work with, so it's going to take much longer for the glutens to develop and bind. This took me roughly 7 to 7.5 minutes of rough kneading until it forms a ball like this. At this point, your dough should no longer be sticky and should bounce back when you touch it. And now we're going to start rolling it out into a rough rectangle, making sure we flip it as soon as it starts to become smooth and resistant to friction. And we're going to continue alternating sides, making sure both are completely smooth. And the end result is a long sheet of pastry about 18 to 24 inches long and about 1/2 inch wide. And now we're going to roll it up and start stretching it out by holding one end of the pastry while we unravel it, stretching it as far as it will go without ripping anything. And then we're going to secure our pastry by pressing in both ends to our work surface, making sure it doesn't move while we're working with it. And then we're going to start expanding our sides, working from the inside out. We want to kind of make this wider than it is long, so we want to try to at least get these edges to about 1/4 inch thick, working on both sides. And we're going to continue this process of working from the inside out until we have a perfectly flat, wide pastry sheet with an even thickness all throughout. And once everything is nice and level, we're going to start encasing this pastry in margarine, starting at the top and working our way down, making sure we hit all the sides, all the edges as we move through. Every part of this pastry needs to be touched with that margarine. And to give you guys some scope, we need to use half of that container of margarine you saw at the beginning of the video to do this. This pastry has to be saturated. And once we have done just that, we're going to start rolling this bad boy up, pulling our ends together. Don't worry about the holes right now. Starting with the typewriter method and forming a tight log, sealing our ends as we go. And once we're done rolling up that narrow end piece, we're going to turn our log of dough about 45 degrees. Then we're going to start rolling it diagonally, tightly wrapping up that expanded midsection. And keep in mind, we're going to try to keep that log of dough as evenly dispersed as possible while doing this, although it's kind of difficult. Then we're going to repeat this process in the other direction, and we're going to repeat this pattern until we have a nice fully sealed log of dough. And then we're going to tuck in our end pieces and then cover the rest of it generously with that remaining margarine. Yes, I know this looks completely excessive, but that's what's going to give this pastizzi its classic taste and texture. And then after that, you're going to see me lose another battle with the shrink wrap. And once everything is tightly sealed, we're going to toss this in the fridge for about 2 hours, but you can definitely let this cool overnight. We basically want all these fats in the margarine to solidify and harden, so that way it's easier to work with for our very next step. And 2 hours has elapsed and we have a very solid looking piece of dough here. And I'm just going to start by warming it up slightly and stretching out the ends to make it a little bit longer of a log. And despite my best efforts, one end was kind of anemic, so we're going to chop that off. And then we're going to form these into the pastizzi they were born to be. And from here, I'm going to slice this log of dough into some 2-inch pieces for some satisfying snack-sized pastizzi. And then from here, we're going to dunk our thumbs into some extra virgin olive oil to make them non-stick. And then we're going to start rolling them out using our fully lubed thumbs to push the inside out. And as you can see all those little layers. This is why it reminds me of a croissant. And we're going to repeat this process of expanding our inside while rotating it constantly until our internal pocket's about twice its original size. Then we're going to flip this thing inside out and continue rotating it for a few more seconds until our opening is roughly 3 inches wide. And let me remind you, you need to do this quickly. If that margarine gets too hot while we're working it, your pastry will more than likely fall apart or become really oily when it's cooked. And from here, we're going to start loading these up with our fillings. Don't go crazy with this. Only fill about 2/3 of the way so they don't explode. Crimp your edges and make sure they're seated snugly, standing up, so that way they can bloom in the oven. And then we're going to repeat this process with our remaining fillings, making sure we crimp our pastry to have an opening that's approximately 1 to 2 centimeters wide, something like you see here. And we're going to continue repeating this process until we have a loaded baking sheet full of these marvelous Maltese Maltese Pastries. And from here, we're going to slam these into a 425-degree oven and allow them to cook anywhere from 25 to 35 minutes or until that crust is beautifully golden brown and flaky. And after about 15 or 20 minutes of rest, this is what we have. Yes, I did lose a couple along the way, but these are absolutely marvelous. They look incredibly crunchy and delicious. So let's go ahead and try these. And this is the moment you all have been waiting for. To give you guys a little bit of the scope of how long it takes to make these, we started filming this video at around 1:30 this afternoon, and it's just now 9 o'clock at night. So you do really need about all day to make these. It's a labor of love, but these look incredible. These are the best looking pastizzi I have ever made. Now that being said, there are some issues. I'm not sure why they didn't stay seated down in the oven. It could be because they were too big or overstuffed, but they made it, and look at those layers. Oh my God. So this is the Savory Ricotta. Oh my God. They may not be a looker, but man, they taste great. Take a look at all those layers on the inside. It's kind of like I don't know how to describe the flavor. It's just really good. Crispy layers, obviously on the outside. They're supposed to be really crunchy. Soft inner layers. Salt and pepper ricotta is really tasty. My God. And the street food, Nutella version. Oh my Lord. With the egg, and you don't even taste the ricotta. It just tastes like a Nutella souffle. Like, you got this neutral pastry crust outside, tender on the inside, crispy on the outside. You've got this really pillowy Nutella sort of thing going on. Look at those layers. I can't believe it took me 8 months to get this done. Again, it's probably because maybe I didn't seat them hard enough on the bottom, or maybe they were too big, or maybe overstuffed. I'm not sure why, but they kind of collapsed a little in the oven. But you could serve these. I mean, look at those layers. Like, all right, Malta, I gotta stop talking. It's getting late. I gotta work in the morning. But guys, I hope I made you proud. Silver Slayer, Master Breaker, these are incredible. Thank you for introducing me to something new. Thank you for challenging me. I love these, and I hope you guys do too. Hope you share it with your friends. And guys, as always, if there's anything else you want to see, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit me up in the comments. We're doing viewer requests all year long. Love you guys. See you in the next video.